Hi all, today we are going to discuss a very easy question. So let's see the description. So the question says that number of changing keys. So the problem statement is that you are given a zero index typed a string s typed by a user. Changing a key is defined as using a key different from the last used key. For example, s is equals to ab has a change of key while s is equals to small b double capital B small b does not have any. Return the number of times the user had to change the key. Note that modifiers like shift or caps lock won't be counted in the changing the key. That is, if a user type the letter A, small a, and then the letter capital A, then it will not be considered as a changing of a key. Okay. So the question is pretty easy, and the gist of the question is that if we are having different characters in the alternate spaces, then they'll be counted as the change of a key, else we will not be considering them. So like in the test case, it is saying that S is equals to small a, small b, small c, capital C. So here you can see that now starting from the iterating the array, the string from the start, we see that the zeroth index and the first index are having the same characters. Like when we are comparing them, irrespective of the case, like we don't have to consider the cases like the upper or the lower case. We simply need to see that the characters are the same. Like small a and capital A are considered as same. So small a and capital A is same, small b and capital B is same, small c and capital C is same. But the point here is that when we are moving from index 1 to index 2, we are having the two different characters like capital A and small b. So one change is here. And similarly, when we're moving from index index 3 to index 4, then we are having two different characters, capital B and small c. So one change is here. So the output it should return is at 2, and we are having the same output as 2. Now coming to the second example test case, it says that capital A, small a, capital A, small a, capital A, small a, small a, capital A. So here we can see that all the characters are same irrespective of their cases. So we are not having any change of the key. So the required answer will be 0. So now let's take a look at the example. Like we can see it from here. Now let's say that we have a small a, capital A, then small b, and then capital B. It is a very basic example. So now when we are at index 0, let's suppose we are at index 0, and at 0th index we are having small a, and at one index like I equals to 1 we are having capital A. So these two characters are basically the same characters, like irrespective of their cases. We'll not be having considering as the same because they are two same characters. Similarly, when we are moving from like now for when we start the iteration from I equals to 0, and we'll go till I equals to len of s minus 1. That is the we'll skip the last index because we are checking for I plus 1th index. So it will lead to a time bound length out of bound exception. So we'll go iterate till l minus 1, and now seeing the I equals to 1 and I equals to 2, like these two indexes, we see that though the characters at these particular indexes are different. Like for I equals to 1, we are having capital A, and for I equals to 2, we are having small b. So capital A and small b both are different. So the count we'll be having is here as 1. Okay. Now similarly, when we move on to I equals to like 2th index, so that is b. Now we are at b, small b, and we'll check for I plus 1. Like basically we are comparing s of I with s of I plus 1. So this is the main scenario. We are basically comparing the two indexes s of I and s of I plus 1. If they both are different, then we'll count it as a changing of a key, and if they are same, we'll not take it as changing of a key. So in simple terms, we can approach it as like we can change the string into the whole as lowercase, and then we can iterate the whole of the string from 0 to length of string minus 1, and we'll be keep on checking the s of I and s of I plus 1. So those particular indexes where s of I is not equal to s of I minus 1, we'll have them as a counting, we'll count them as a change of key, else we'll not count them as change of a key, and we'll move on to the next index. So like this, our loop will continue. Now coming to the code part. So let's move into Python 3. So we will have s is equals to s dot lower. Basically, we're converting the string into the lowercase, and now we'll have a count variable which will store the count of changing of a key, count equals to 0. And now we'll move on to for I in range len of s minus 1. We'll iterate from 0 to len of s minus 1, and we'll check if s of I is not equal to s of I plus 1. Then simply we can return count is equals to count plus 1, and we will increment the count, and we'll return count simply. Now we'll see the example test cases. Yes, we are getting the similar output. We'll submit the code and check if it's working on all the test cases or not. So it is getting accepted. So the basic logic is that we are converting the string into the whole string into one case only, like in the lower case. Then we are iterating from 0 to len of s minus 1, and we are simply checking if the index I, the character at the index I is not equal to character at the index I plus 1. Then we are incrementing the count of the change of a key, and we are simply returning the count. So that's all for this question. And the time complexity is order of n, like the n is the length of the string, because we are iterating till the length of the string.